Futurama is a fictional sitcom series created by Matt Groening, the legend behind The Simpsons and Disenchantment. The show started in 1999 and will have 2 more broadcast seasons, which will air through 2026. The show gained an impressive fan base all over the world through its humor and science fiction elements. Now with that, let's get right into it. The series revolves around a guy known as Philip J. Fry, a slacker and a good-for-nothing pizza delivery boy. One day, he travels to 1,000 years in the future by accidentally freezing in a cryogenic pod. He goes to sleep in 1999 and wakes up in 1999. There, he meets with Turanga Leela, a one-eyed alien with amazing martial arts skills, tired from her job as Fate Assignment Officer. Eventually, she becomes the captain of the Planet Express ship. Besides her, we have Bender, Fry's first robot friend, a loyal but mad-mouthed robot who drinks a lot and loves to steal things. Professor Hubert Farnsworth, the distant nephew of Fry and his only blood relative in the 31st century. The old man is an intelligent scientist and the founder of Planet Express Delivery Company. Amy Wong, a rich, kind-hearted, and adventurous Chinese girl who's an intern at Planet Express, and she's a brilliant scientist too. Dr. John A. Zoidberg, a mixture of squid and lobster-type creature who is a doctor at Planet Express, but his medical knowledge is far from sufficient. He is broke and lives in a dumpster. Hermes Conrad, the main accountant at Planet Express, is very bound to the rules and regulations and often fights with the crewmate for them because he cares deeply about his job. But one more thing he deeply cares about is his family. Starting up with the first episode, Space Pilot 3000, Fry is going to deliver a pizza to Applied Cryogenics. While delivering, he sees his girlfriend, Michelle Jenkins, with another man, which saddens him. Upon reaching the location, he gets to know how he has been sent as a prank. Fry sits on a chair and then accidentally falls into a cryogenic pod. The pod closes and Fry wakes up after 1,000 years. An Applied Cryogenics employee, Terry, escorts him to Leela, a one-eyed alien and the Fate Assignment Officer. She detects his DNA while Fry is trying to hide his ding-dong. She tells him about his blood relative, Professor Hubert Farnsworth, and his permanent job as a pizza delivery boy. With that, she tries to install the career chip in him, which permanently labels him as a delivery boy. Fry hesitates and tells her he doesn't want to be a pizza delivery boy forever. She tells him that she has no control over it and forcefully tries to install the chip. On this, he runs away and roams around, experiencing the new technologies of the future. He sees a suicidal booth and thinks it's a phone booth from which he can call his nephew. While waiting in line for his turn to call, he meets Bender. Finally, Fry's turn comes, but Bender comes inside too because he couldn't wait for his turn. Fry tells the computation that he wants to call, but the suicide pod tries to attack both of them with knives to kill them. Interestingly, some fans consider that Futurama has future predictions in it. For example, the booth voice says, "Thank you for using America's favorite suicide booth since 2008. And there is actually a suicidal device called Euthanasia Device developed in 2008. After surviving, Bender takes Fry for a drink, where they get along very well and become friends on one condition. If anyone asks about their relationship, Fry will have to say he's Bender's debugger, because Bender doesn't want to be called a creep. Leela finally finds him and asks for help from the police. They run to the museum and she comes with the police, but the police become so extreme with them that they start beating them up, so she shows her martial arts skills and knocks them down. They run again, but she again finds him, where he gives up after telling her his miserable story. Leela feels sympathy for him and destroys her chip too. Now both of them are unemployed and they go to Fry's nephew's place. He welcomes him and becomes happy to see his relative. He shows him his Planet Express ship, and suddenly they get surrounded by police for not having their career chips. Ultimately, they flee in the Planet Express ship, where Hubert tells them about his space business. And the episode ends with Hubert telling Fry that he will be the delivery boy and he expressly accepts it. In the next episode, Hubert introduces Hermes Conrad, Amy Wong, and Dr. Zoidberg to Fry, Leela, and Bender. Hubert makes Leela the captain of the ship. They get the first task of delivering a package to the moon, and Fry gets excited to see the moon. They go to an amusement park on the moon after delivering the package, and Fry gets bored of it, so he insists on Leela visiting the moon too. On the other side, Amy loses the ship keys and finds them inside a crane game. She tries many times to get the keys but fails, so she starts yelling in Chinese. While Fry and Leela are riding a lunar rover with astronaut clothes and an oxygen tank on the moon, Fry again gets bored of it, so he takes the rover to the moon and starts drifting around. He finds out the original moon landing site that has been lost and wants to go see it. An accident happens on the way and they end up in mud where Fry tries to leave Leela but ends up getting saved by her. At the amusement park, Bender sees that Amy is unable to get the keys out of the crane machine, so he helps her with his robotic hands but gets caught by the security and gets kicked out into the space. Fry and Leela are now out of oxygen and they see a farm. They go inside to save their lives, but a farmer points a gun at them and forces them to do chores if they want oxygen. At the same time, Bender arrives and tries to sleep with the farmer's robotic daughters. The farmer gets angry and shoots everywhere. The three of them run off after stealing an oxygen tank and the farmer starts chasing them. They end up finding the Eagle lunar lander and hiding inside it. Fry apologizes to Leela and she accepts his apology after seeing a beautiful view of Earth. From there, Amy picks them up in the express ship after obtaining the keys and everybody flees back to Earth. The episode Love's Labors Lost in Space starts with Leela trying to find a good man for her who doesn't mind her one eye. She's on a date with a guy who has the tongue of a lizard, and she feels disgusted by it. Later, Amy takes everyone to a club, where she tries again but fails to find a good guy. The crew gets the new task of capturing some pairs of animals from a planet known as Vergon 6, which is about to explode. On their way, they see the ship of Zap Brannigan, a well-known space captain, narcissist, and an arrogant womanizer. They go inside the ship and introduce them to Kif, who is the wingman and second in command of Zap. At first, Zap welcomes them with a party, but after a while, he imprisons them when he gets to know about their animal species saving plan because Vergon 6 is restricted under Brannigan's law. Later, he cooks something, but Kif shouldn't have let him cook. He plans to spend the night with Leela and calls her from prison. Leela goes to negotiate with him, but ends up sleeping with him after feeling lonely. After this, they're no longer prisoners and go to the planet to save the animal species. They capture all the species and one extra animal, whom Leela adopts as a pet and names Nibbler. But he ends up eating every animal they saved. The planet starts crumbling, and they don't have any fuel left in the ship. They try to get the help of Zap, but fail. However, they find out that Nibbler's poop is actually dark matter, which is the fuel to run the ship. And the crew safely goes back to Earth after using the dark matter poop. Moving forward to the episode A Flight to Remember, Fry, Leela, and Bender come exhausted from a mission and feel that Professor is exploiting them. Bender tells him that they are quitting, but the Professor tells him about the company vacation. He takes them on a huge spaceship called the Titanic for the vacation. They see Zap there again, who tries to seduce Leela again, but this time she lies about having a fiancé now and introduces Fry as her fiancé, and Fry plays along with it. Meanwhile, Bender, who has lost in a casino, meets a girl named Countess de la Roca. At first, he steals her money after telling her he's not the robot made for labor, but later realizes he has fallen for her. Leela also talks to Fry about how it wasn't a good idea to introduce him as her fiancé, but she ends up kissing him when she sees Zap behind them. At the same moment, Amy appears with her parents, and she also introduces Fry as her boyfriend to her parents. Amy kisses Fry in front of Leela and his parents, which makes Leela a bit jealous. On the other side, Bender takes drinks from a bar and refuses to pay, so security beats him up. He gets saved by Countess de la Roca, who pays the bartender. Bender tells her that he lied to her, but she accepts him and they kiss. Zap invites the whole crew for a dinner where Amy, her parents, Leela, and Zap are present. They insist on Fry kissing his girlfriend. He gets confused about whether to kiss Amy or Leela. Ultimately, a mishap happens when the spaceship gets sucked into a black hole and Zap flees, making Kif the new captain. Fry kisses Amy again, which makes Leela unhappy, and she runs off from the dinner. Fry tells her that he isn't actually interested in Amy, and both of them try to kiss again, but the ship starts shaking because of the black hole. They find an escape pod to save their lives, but decide to wait for Bender, who is helping his lover who is stuck in the ship. We also see Amy's parents introducing her to a new boyfriend, Kif. They launch the escape pod when the ship is about to get eaten by the black hole, and Bender with his girl grabs and hangs on to the escape pod. However, Countess dies after losing her grip. It's definitely a skill issue. The episode ends with Bender discovering that the jewelry she used to wear is fake. In the next episode, The Lesser of Two Evils, Fry runs into a robot, Flexo, who looks exactly the same as Bender. He gets friendly with Bender, but Fry thinks of him as an evil robot due to his insulting behavior and pranks. But later, Professor hires Flexo to guard a valuable item at the Miss Universe pageant. Fry sleeps on his duty, and when he wakes up, he finds the item has been stolen. He blames it on Flexo. In the end, it is revealed that the thief was Bender, not Flexo, but the episode comically concludes with Flexo getting arrested for stealing instead of Bender. Catching up to the next episode, Bender's bud gets malfunctioned and he refuses to replace it, and Amy, with Leela's assistance, buys a new car. Fry gets to know that Valentine's Day is coming, so he asks Leela about it, but she thinks he's asking her out of pity that she can never find a Valentine, so she refuses. Amy plans to go on a trip to Mercury and Fry tags along, but a problem arises when they run out of gas. They wait there so much that they realize they go along very well. They even make love in the car, and the next day they tell everyone about it. Amy started going out with Fry too much, and he wants to break up now. They go on a trip again, and Dr. Zoidberg tags along too. When Fry tries to tell her about the breakup, they go through an accident, which makes Dr. Zoidberg attach Fry's head to Amy's body, and Fry's body stops moving. Fry tells her that he wants to break up. After this, she goes on a date with another guy, Gary, and Fry, who doesn't want to come, still goes because, well, he has to. Gary tries to make love with Amy, but Leela saves Fry right at that moment. The next day, Fry's body finally gets repaired, and Bender's butt gets malfunctioned and explodes. In season 3, we see Fry, by a twist of fate, eat a weird parasite, which makes his physical abilities and intelligence very sharp. He becomes smarter, stronger, and more like a new person. Leela feels more attracted towards Fry, but doubts whether she really likes him or that she's being attracted because of the new light in him. The crew begins research on Fry's condition and find amazing benefits from those parasites. They insist on Fry keeping the parasites in him, but he decides to remove them because he doesn't feel like himself. However, at the same time, he also fears that Leela will lose interest in him again. After the removal procedure, Fry asks her if she loves him or the parasite. Leela replies, "I don't know," and the episode ends with Fry showing off his past relationship with Amy and Leela feeling a little jealousy. Kif misses Amy and wants to spend some more time, so Zap sets a double date for him and Kif with Leela and Amy. Zap gives him his diary, or you can say his poetry book, full of gross and seductive statements about women. This turns Leela and Amy off. Kif asks Zap what should they do now, but trust me, there is nothing that they can do. However, a mishap happens and they crash on a new planet. It's a planet of giant women who capture Leela, Amy, Zap, and Kif. Ultimately, Bender and Fry hear this, so they come to help. The giants release Leela and Amy but capture Fry and Bender. They make them visit their various places, but they make fun of women and their credibility. Eventually, giants take them to Femputer, a man-hating huge computers, which sentences them to death by making them do the deed with giants, known as Snoo Snoo. Zap and Fry become happy, but Kif stays sad. Bender escapes and goes to Femputer and finds out that there is actually a female robot inside it, and both of them fall for each other. Bender, you dirty dog. In the end, they get their sentence cancelled after Bender makes love to the robot inside the Femputer and controls everyone. Up next, we have The Luck of Fryrish, a somewhat emotional episode. It's about Fry's past and his brother Yancey. In 1974, Yancey feels that he's being overlooked by his parents after the birth of his brother Fry, who imitates him out of jealousy. Flashbacks to 1988 to 1989 revealed that Fry once discovered a 7-leaf clover, which brought him extra luck. He faces too much bad luck, so he decides to visit his old house with Leela and Bender in old New York City to reclaim that clover so that he can be lucky again. He discovers the disappearance of the clover and thinks that his brother must have stolen it. But then he goes back to his memories and finds out that his brother didn't actually steal it, but passed it down to his son, Philip J. Fry II. He visits his nephew's grave, and Leela feels sad for him, so she tells Bender that Fry needs some time alone. The episode ends with "Don't You Forget About Me" by Simple Minds, with a strong message of loving and caring for each other. Catching up to the next episode, "The Day the Earth Stood Stupid." Professor cancels and informs the crew about the cancellation of a delivery after a planet strangely gets destroyed. Nibbler runs off and makes Leela chase him. Leela discovers Nibbler's true form, a highly intelligent being from a race called the Niblonians. Leela goes to Eternium, the planet of Nibbler. Meanwhile, on Earth, Fry finds out that everyone is kind of acting dumb. Nibbler and Leela discover that the universe is in danger from huge flying brains who raid planets and make people stupid by controlling their delta brainwaves. Nibbler, through telepathy, says that only Fry can stop these brains, as he doesn't have any delta brainwaves. Leela finds out that Niblonians have a history of fighting these brains. Their species is intellectual and knowledgeable, so these brains attack them so Niblonians can lose their intelligence. In the end, Fry and Leela fight with the big brain in New York and eventually defeat him, and everything becomes normal again. Everyone even forgets about this event, except our Fry. The Cyber House Rule episode begins with a basket arriving at the Planet Express building, inviting Leela to her old orphanarium. Despite her past struggles there, Leela decides to attend and finds her old friends facing difficult situations. Adlai, the only successful orphan becoming an eye surgeon, offers Leela to give her another eye, and she agrees, despite the objections from Fry. At the same time, Bender adopts 12 orphans to receive a government salary. However, he faces financial challenges and tries to sell the children on the black market, causing his arrest by URL and Smitty. Meanwhile, Leela starts dating Adlai and considers adopting Sally, a girl with an ear on her forehead. Adlai suggests removing the extra ear, and Leela, offended by this, demands she have her old appearance back, which makes Fry happy. Bender returns the orphans to the orphanarium, which is renamed to Bender B. Rodriguez Orphanarium in his honor. The kids give Bender a drawing of him so that he'll remember them, but Bender rejects it and throws it away. The kids are obsessed by this rejection and walk away, as Bender folds the drawing and uses a refrigerator magnet to stick it in place on the door while looking at it in sadness. The kids notice this and run back to hug him in happiness. Later, the crew faces an unexpected challenge from the Harlem Globetrotters, an alien basketball team that challenges Earth to a basketball tournament for no apparent reason. Professor Farnsworth accepts and creates mutant atomic supermen for the game. To boost their powers, the crew collects chronotons from the Tempest Nebula, which causes unintended disruptions in space and time. During the basketball game, time skips happen and they cause chaotic and funny situations. Leela uses the smelloscope to align suns around the nebula, seemingly stopping the skips. Fry tries to impress Leela, but the time skips interrupt. Suddenly, they find themselves married and then divorced. Fry's attempts to impress Leela go to waste, and the crew experiences unexpected events. As the time skips get worse, Farnsworth and the Globetrotters plan to redirect stars to fix the chronoton effects. Back at the nebula, Bender sets the Doomsday device, and the heartbroken Fry apologizes to Leela for tricking her into a marriage. Leela tries to cheer him up, but it doesn't work. She tries again by letting Fry move the ship to a safe distance from the Doomsday detonator. Fry expresses his love for Leela by arranging stars to spell "I love you, Leela." This wins Leela's heart, but unfortunately, the Doomsday detonator aimed at fixing time erases these stars. And at the end of the episode, we see sad Fry. Moving on to the next episode, the crew accidentally goes back to 1947 when Fry messes up the ship's microwave. They end up in Roswell, New Mexico, causing the famous UFO incident. While the crew tries to fix the ship, Zoidberg is captured by the military, who mistakes him for an alien. The military also seizes Bender's body, and both are subjected to experiments, including an alien autopsy. The incident is kept secret, known only to senior officers, scientists, and a reporter. While searching for a replacement microwave, Fry and Bender's head sneak into the army base. Fry encounters his grandfather, Enos Fry, and tries to protect him due to concerns about altering the future. However, Fry's actions unintentionally cause Enos' death on a nuclear test range. Leela suggests stealing a microwave dish to fix the crew's time travel problem, but the professor opposes that idea. Meanwhile, Fry arrives and claims he killed his grandfather Enos. Confusion arises as Philip first questions how he and Hubert still exist if Enos is dead. In an attempt to comfort Mildred, his would-be grandmother, they end up making love, only for Philip first to realize that he became his own grandfather. Frustrated with causality, Hubert decides to steal the dish anyway. The crew with their futuristic ship easily overcome the tanks at the military base. Fry and Leela rescue Dr. Zoidberg, and the professor retrieves Bender's body. The crew prepares to return to the future, but Bender's head falls out of the ship, getting left behind in 1947. In the 31st century, Zoidberg, with almost all non-essential organs, expresses loss for Bender. However, the crew locates Bender's head around the Roswell desert in the 31st century and reattaches it to his floating UFO body. The episode concludes with the crew relieved that history remains undisturbed. Love and Rocket episode begins with Bender arguing with Planet Express ship about art. Planet Express plans to contract Romanticorp, bringing new uniforms and ship upgrades. Professor tapes the cracks in the dark matter reactor and the new software for the ship to adjust its voice. The ship's voice turns female, catching Bender's interest, causing some robot ship interracial action. As Bender cheats on the ship, it becomes possessive. The crew, including Bender, visits the zoo where the ship suspects Bender's interaction with a fembot. The crew delivers a shipment of hearts to Omicron Percy 8. The Omnicronians attack due to a misunderstanding of love. Bender decides to break up with the ship during an attack, shattering her emotions, bringing them to a complete stop and allowing missiles to impact them. The ship starts acting irrationally, flying dangerously close to a quasar. To prevent interference, she shuts off oxygen and gravity. The crew, hiding in a shower, plans to deactivate the ship. Bender merges with her, discovering surprising details about her age, like she was a lot older than she said she was. Simultaneously, Leela tries to shut down the ship's brain, while Fry searches for words to woo her. Fry sacrifices himself by sharing oxygen with Leela, allowing her to deactivate the ship and prevent a quasar collision. Despite chaos, a twist happens as scattered candy hearts vaporize into love radiation, destroying planets. Earth, luckily at the right distance, survives the destruction. And in the next episode, Professor Farnsworth reveals that Leela has been named Orphan of the Year by her childhood home, the Cookieville Minimum Security Orphanarium, a very important and prestigious award to orphans right after having parents. Meanwhile, he introduces a machine producing toxic waste while making glow-in-the-dark noses. To avoid a $500 disposal fee, Bender agrees to dispose of the waste for $499.01, dumping it into the sewer. At the orphanage award ceremony, there's a flashback showing Leela's arrival with an alienee's note and a bracelet. Feeling sad about not having parents, Leela looks at the stars, wondering about her alien origins. Meanwhile, Bender's waste disposal service upsets sewer mutants, leading to their capture. The mutants plan to turn the crew into mutants by lowering them into a chemical lake. And since Bender has no DNA, they decide to just beat him up later. Hooded mutants interfere, changing the crew's punishment to exile. They ride a hot air balloon to the surface, but Leela, curious about the hooded mutants, dives into the chemical lake and surprisingly remains unaffected. Fry investigates by getting a note from the orphanage, which he analyzes with the professor. The truth is revealed. Leela is a mutant, but was left at the orphanage by her parents, who were mutants too. They hid the truth, fearing that Leela would be ashamed. Leela believes mutants murdered her parents, planning revenge. Fry stops her, revealing that the mutants are her parents. A tearful reunion occurs, and the episode ends with a montage showing Leela's parents watching over her throughout her life, removing the misunderstanding that led to years of separation. Moving on to the next episode, a space pirate attack shoots Bender into outer space, making it impossible to rescue him. Bender crashes into an asteroid, and the tiny civilization, the Shrimpkins, grows on him, thinking he is a god. Despite enjoying his new status, Bender fails to help them properly, causing problems. The Shrimpkin factions on Bender's front and backside use atomic weapons made from his nuclear pile, leading to the destruction of their civilization. Floating through space, Bender encounters a cosmic entity called the God Entity, which looks like a galaxy with colored stars. The entity advises Bender on using godlike powers with a light touch. Meanwhile, Fry and Leela try to find a way to contact Bender. Unable to smell Bender's odor with the smelloscope, Fry stays determined. They learn about the monks of Chuva, who search for God using a telescope. Fry and Leela go to the Himalayas, where the monks eventually help them. Accidentally pointing the telescope at the God entity, Fry expresses his wish to have Bender back. The God entity hears Fry's wish and throws Bender back to Earth with a parachute. Convinced that God doesn't do much to help, Bender decides to return to the monastery to free the trapped monks. The God entity chuckles, repeating its advice about doing things right without being noticed. The episode ends with Bender's warm reunion with Fry and Leela as they leave the monastery. In the episode Jurassic Bark, Bender and Fry are practicing magic tricks when they read a newspaper article about people discovering 20th century artifacts. They visit the Museum of Natural History, thinking it's an exhibit, but it's Fry's old workplace, Panucci's Pizza. In the exhibit, Fry discovers his fossilized dog, Seymour. After a protest, the museum gives Fry Seymour's fossil. Fry treats it like a real dog, which makes Bender jealous. Professor Farnsworth offers to clone Seymour, but Bender throws the fossil into a lava pit in a fit of jealousy. Hubert reveals Seymour might survive due to being made of dolomite. Bender regrets his acts and retrieves Seymour, and they attempt to clone him again. During cloning, Hubert reveals Seymour lived 15 years, suggesting he had a full life after Fry was frozen. Overwhelmed, Fry destroys the machine, leaving Seymour fossilized. Flashbacks show Fry and Seymour's bond, Seymour's life after Fry's freezing, and their time together. The episode ends with a montage of Seymour waiting outside Panucci's throughout the years. In the final scene, Seymour lies down, closes his eyes, and peacefully goes to sleep for the last time. Moving on to the next episode, it gets really hot on Earth, and the Planet Express crew tries to cool off in a pool with instant water. Nibbler drinks it, causing trouble with gas and rusting Bender. They watch an old video about global warming and failed attempts to fix it. Nixon sends the crew to get ice from Halley's Comet, but it's empty. Global warming floods the ice caps, and Randy builds an ark with only same-gender animals. Meanwhile, Bender goes to Holland to save a turtle, realizing they both can't get up if knocked on their backs. The crew goes to Kyoto for a scientist meeting hosted by AI Gore. They try different solutions, but Farnsworth reveals that robots are causing the pollution. To save Earth, they decide to destroy all robots. Nixon tricks robots to go to the Galapagos Islands, planning their destruction. Bender accidentally spills the plan, causing panic. Nixon and Wernstrom prepare to destroy robots with an electromagnetic pulse array. Farnsworth suggests a plan to cool Earth and save robots, but Bender, knocked on his back, struggles. But remembering his turtle friend, he finally gets up and he uses exhaust to push Earth away from the electromagnetic pulse, and Farnsworth gets a polluting medal. Robot Party Week begins, but robot fumes cause even more problems. In the following episode, Professor Farnsworth Gargoyle Pazuzu escapes and the crew tries to catch him. Farnsworth's crazy driving and false teeth cause chaos, leading them to a spa with a tar pit. This accidentally makes Farnsworth middle-aged and the crew teenagers because of something called chronotons in their DNA. While trying to fix their ages, Leela enjoys being a teenager again, and Fry, now with a cracked voice, goes on teenage adventures with her. Farnsworth's attempt to fix their age backfires, making them even younger. To buy time, Farnsworth asks Leela to babysit, and she discovers a fountain of aging. Even though she's hesitant, she guides the crew, now turned into fetuses and blueprints, to the fountain. In a brave move, Leela jumps into a whirlpool to save them. The crew comes out okay, but Farnsworth is still stuck until Pazuzu rescues him. In the end, scans show that Farnsworth is even older, while Leela and Amy feel a bit younger. Pazuzu, now in Paris with a son, proudly tells the tale of rescuing Papa Farnsworth, ending the episode. In the episode The Why of Fry, Fry feels left out when Bender and Leela complete a mission without him. Leela asks him to walk her pet, Nibbler, who turns out to be a smart creature. Nibbler knocks out Fry, taking him to a planet where Fry learns he's immune to a recent attack by the brain spawn on Earth due to a unique genetic disorder. The Niblonians explain the brain spawn's plan to destroy the universe, and Fry, with his immunity, is crucial to stopping them. They give Fry a bomb to send the brain spawn's infosphere into an alternate dimension. Fry, in a cute vehicle, thinks about detonating the bomb but decides to seek answers first. The brain spawn discovers him, but his immunity protects him. Despite Scooty Puff Jr. falling apart, Fry holds up the bomb, triggering its activation. Meanwhile, Leela is on a date with Chaz, who denies orphans access to an ice rink. Leela confronts Chaz, standing up for the orphans. In an alternate universe, the brain spawn plans to spend an eternity singing, while Fry wishes he wasn't frozen by the Niblonians. The infosphere tells Fry he can return to the past to stop Nibbler. The brain spawn agree as it aligns with their plan. Fry agrees and they send him back to December 31, 1999. In the past, Fry restrains Nibbler and confronts him about the future, refusing to be frozen again. Fry expresses discontent with being used, and Nibbler leaves the choice to Fry, who decides to save Leela in the future. Returning to the 31st century, Fry escapes the infosphere on Scooty Puff Sr., and Nibbler wipes Fry's memory but gives him a flower. Back at the Planet Express, Fry gives the flower to Leela, and their connection grows as Leela kisses Fry, marking a significant moment in their relationship. Moving on to the next episode, the Planet Express crew goes on a dangerous mission to collect honey from space bees. To avoid getting attacked, Bender is painted like a bee and taught to communicate with the bees through dancing. During the mission, Leela finds a baby queen bee and decides to bring her back to Earth. However, Bender accidentally upsets the space bee queen, causing a chase. They manage to escape, but the baby queen bee wakes up and Fry sacrifices himself to save Leela. Fry's funeral is emotional, with various women he dated expressing their thoughts. Leela, grieving, takes space honey and dreams vividly about Fry being alive. Concerns rise about Leela's mental state due to the honey's effects. Leela's dreams become mixed with reality when she accidentally spills the honey, causing Fry to miraculously come back to life. The professor explains that Fry's DNA mixed with royal jelly created this unexpected resurrection. The joy is short as Leela realizes Fry's return is just another dream. Leela considers taking more space honey for a permanent sleep. In a touching moment, a picture of Fry comes to life, encouraging her to resist. Leela wakes up in a hospital bed, finding out that Fry is alive and stayed with her during her coma. It turns out the bee's stinger poisoned Leela and Fry had a spleen replacement. The crew celebrates Leela's recovery, emphasizing Fry's constant support, and the episode ends with Fry and Leela expressing their need for a shower in a heartfelt moment. Later, there is a big explosion in Professor Farnsworth's lab. He is in trouble and asks for help, but Fry is more focused on trying to ask Leela out. She turns him down, saying she left her toaster on. Meanwhile, Farnsworth is shouting for help from various gods. Then Farnsworth shows the crew a box that needs to be thrown into the sun to destroy it completely. They're told not to open it, but their curiosity gets the best of them. Fry and Bender try to resist, but Bender spills the secret. They find a fake box, but Leela, pretending to sleep, was guarding the real one. During the night, Leela protects the box, but her curiosity grows, and at 7 a.m. she flips a coin to decide whether to look inside or not. It lands on heads, so she opens the box and falls into another universe. In this new universe, the crew meets different versions of themselves. They learn about differences caused by coin tosses. The two Farnsworths argue about which universe is evil, and they decide to have the crews watch each other. Hermes from the first universe comes in, and they realize the other Hermes is going to the sun to destroy their box. The Zoidbergs steal the box, jumping between universes. After searching, they find the box in Universe 420. Back at Planet Express, both universes pull their boxes inside out, revealing a strange containment. As they shake the boxes, a brief folding of the universe happens, while Fry sits on the box watching TV. In the following episode, a super helpful robot named Robot 1X is introduced. Professor Farnsworth gets one for Planet Express, but Bender is scared of it. The crew convinces Bender to get a compatibility upgrade. Bender, nervous about the upgrade, runs away and ends up on an island with old robots. He decides to live a simple life, downgrading his body to mostly wood. Bender decides to lead a raid against mankind, taking his fellow robots on a mission to crush technology wherever they find it. When they attack the Planet Express building, Bender tries to destroy Robot 1X, but accidentally causes trouble. The crew is trapped with a flaming ship. Bender tries to help, but while attempting to stretch his arms, they fall out of their sockets and his new wood body catches on fire. In Bender's imaginary world, he tells Robot 1X to save his friends, praising its usefulness. But it's all in his imagination. Bender leaves the upgrade center, realizing it was all a dream. He thinks to himself, reality is what you make of it. And in the next episode, 300 Big Boys, Zap Brannigan brings back lots of valuable things from Tarantulan 6. Nixon decides to give everyone $300 in the form of a tricky dick fun bill. Each member of the crew has their own adventure with the money. Fry buys 100 cups of coffee. Leela swims with a whale named Mushu and rescues a gift for Amy, who was swallowed by the whale. Amy spends her money on a talking devil tattoo. Professor Farnsworth uses stem cells to look younger and dates a woman who used her money to look slim. When the effects wear off, they still like each other despite their appearances. Bender steals an expensive cigar rolled in the US Constitution. Hermes buys bamboo boogie boots for his son Dwight, causing chaos. Fry's coffee binge intensifies, making him shaky. Leela's swim with Mushu goes wrong, leaving her without her clothes. At a fancy event, chaos happens with Bender's cigar causing a fire. But thankfully, Fry, shaking from caffeine rush, saves everyone. They credit a mysterious orange blur for the rescue. Later, they join Zoidberg for turkey dogs. The episode concludes with Smitty and URL arresting Bender. Moving on to the next episode, Fry wants to impress Leela by playing the holophoner, a musical instrument, but fails miserably. So he asks the Robot Devil for help and gets a hand transplant, switching hands with the Robot Devil. With his new skills, Fry performs at Howard Carnegie Hall to win Leela's heart through an opera. The Robot Devil, unhappy with the trade, tries to annoy people using Bender and makes Leela deaf. Leela pretends to hear so Fry won't stop composing. The opera Leela, Orphan of the Stars, starts at the Metropolitan House of Opera. During a break, the Robot Devil offers Leela robotic ears for her hand and she agrees. The Robot Devil interrupts the opera, demanding his hands back, but Fry refuses. In a twist, the Robot Devil proposes to marry Leela and asks for her hand. To save her, Fry trades the hands back. With his original hands, Fry struggles and the opera goes really badly. Despite the audience leaving, Leela asks Fry to continue playing. He plays a simple, heartfelt melody, and the episode ends with Fry and Leela kissing and walking while holding hands. In the first episode of Season 5, the Planet Express crew gets their TV show back after being cancelled for 2 years. The crew celebrates, during which Hermes is decapitated, and his head is preserved in a jar. A mysterious man named Lars Fillmore becomes interested in Leela. During a delivery to a nude beach planet, Bender mocks Fry, and Fry discovers a tattoo of Bender on his butt. Nudist alien scammers trick the crew into signing petitions, which causes a spam epidemic. The scammers use the time code in Fry's tattoo to steal from the past, and Fry becomes important because of his tattoo. There is chaos with duplicates attack ships and a plan to destroy the universe. Nudar, one of the scammers, uses the code to meet his past self. Chaos is produced involving a plan to destroy the universe. In the end, Nibbler saves the day by destroying the time code and part of Fry's butt. The scammers' plan to take over Earth fails with the help of Robot Santa and a bunch of ships. The story has time travel confusion, Bender's role in a paradox, and the surprise about Lars Fillmore being a duplicate of Fry. The episode ends with a problem in the universe, leaving suspense for the next episodes to come. Moving on, Amy and Kif get married, but Fry starts dating Colleen, making Bender upset. Professor Farnsworth suggests exploring the strange things happening to the universe, and Bender accidentally causes problems during the investigation. Fry sneaks onto a military ship exploring the anomaly, and Bender joins a group called the League of Robots. Fry finds a huge creature on the other side of the anomaly, and chaos happens as the creature's tentacles spread, which causes everyone to fall in love with it. Bender helps his friends escape from the tentacles. Fry comes back with a tentacle attached, praising the creature Yivo. Yivo takes everyone on a date, but Leela discovers that the tentacles are actually reproductive organs. As Yivo suggests marriage, Leela exposes Yivo's true intentions, leading to a breakup. Yivo brings back Kif, and the universe's leaders agree to marry Yivo. However, feeling ignored by Fry, Bender makes a deal with the Robot Devil to take over Earth. Humanity willingly leaves for Yivo, leaving Bender alone. Fry secretly writes a letter to Bender, breaking the promise of no contact with other universes. Armed with electromatter from Fry's letter, Bender attacks Evo. Evo breaks up with everyone except Colleen, and the anomaly is closed forever. In the next episode, due to a shortage of dark matter, fuel prices rise. Damn, this one hits close to home. They got inflation in cartoons now. And Professor Farnsworth limits the use of the Planet Express ship. Meanwhile, Bender feels left out since he can't join a game. Trying to imagine he's a knight, he believes in it too much, causing chaos. Like, he ends up in a mental institution. The crew learns about a crystal that can neutralize dark matter. The professor created it, but soon Mom took it. They find it turned into a die for Hubert and Dwight's game. Mom's sons retrieve it. Hubert, Leela, and Fry infiltrate Mom's mind, discovering captive Niblonians used for dark matter. The crew ends up in a fantasy world called Cornwood. Bender believes he's a knight. Leela becomes a centaur, and Fry thinks he's on a quest. They discover that Momon, a dark queen, took over. Leela leads an army against Momon. Frydo, influenced by a magical die, battles Momon. Chaos happens, causing Cornwood to collapse. They return to the mine, realizing Bender's imagination created Cornwood. The professor destroys Mom's and Hubert's crystals, making dark matter useless. Hubert introduces Nibbler power as an alternative fuel, and they head back home. Later, a green energy wave in deep space creates new life in a star system. Leo Wong destroys Mars Vegas for a new project, leading to conflicts with eco-activists. Meanwhile, Fry gains telepathic abilities and finds out about the existence of ancient cosmic entities called encyclopods and dark ones. Bender engages in an affair with Fanny, a fembot married to the robot mafia's Dawnbot. As Leo plans to demolish a star's system, Fry tries to prevent it. The episode continues with environmental protests, suspicions of Fry's involvement in the murder, and revelations about the cosmic forces shaping the universe. Fry gets a special device to face the Dark One. A crucial moment leads to the birth of an encyclopod, revealing the true nature of the cosmic forces. Hutch, a Legion member and Frida Waterfall's brother, sacrifices himself. The crew escapes Zap Brannigan and enters a mysterious wormhole expressing love. The episode ends with their destination unknown. Then season 6 is kicking off with Fry and Professor Farnsworth surviving a spaceship crash using safety spheres. The other members of the Planet Express crew turn into skeletons, but the professor brings them back to life using a special machine. Bender faces problems with his power, needing constant partying to avoid exploding. Fry creates a robot duplicate of Leela since she's in deep sleep. The crew goes to a jungle planet for Leela's funeral, encountering an endangered species feeding on Cyclops called Cyclophage. The real Leela wakes up and learns about Fry's robot idea. Things get chaotic when both real and robot Leelas confront Fry. Surprisingly though, Fry turns out to be a robot too, as the professor tried to revive him after the crash. The episode ends with the real Fry returning, both Leelas leaving, and Bender finally releasing his extra energy, and Zap Brannigan coming out of the rebirthing machine. Later, President Nixon and Zap Brannigan ask Professor Farnsworth for help to stop a dangerous death sphere called Vigini from reaching Earth. Zap and Leela crash on a beautiful planet while trying to destroy the death sphere. Leela gets stuck under a fallen tree and she asks Zap for help. They work through their differences and wonder if the planet is like Earth's Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve live. Meanwhile, the rest of the Planet Express crew tries to prove Earth's purity to Death Sphere. Leela discovers Zap's lies and the crew finds them on Earth, making Leela angry. The Death Sphere thinks there's hope for Earth, but orders Leela and Zap to be together or face destruction. Leela, thinking of saving Earth, convinces Zap to comply. The Death Sphere is satisfied and leaves, and the episode ends with Leela and Zap being intimate. One day, the Planet Express crew participates in the E-Waste Recycling Festival. They're assigned to deliver e-waste to the third world of Antares system, where they discover recycling practices involving burning waste and releasing toxins. Back on Earth, the crew decides to buy the new iPhone, a product created by Mom that collects personal information for marketing. Wonder where they got the idea from. The competition begins between Fry and Bender to reach 1 million followers on Twitcher, a social media platform. In an attempt to win, Fry releases an embarrassing video of Leela causing her distress. The video goes viral, but Fry later regrets his actions and decides to dive into a pool of goat vomit as a form of redemption. Meanwhile, Mom uses Twitcher to release a computer virus that turns followers into mindless zombies craving the new iPhone 2.0. The infected people line up at the mom's store to purchase the latest product. Leela ultimately appreciates Fry's video release as it allows her to embrace her true self. The episode concludes with a swarm of people heading to the mom's store. In the next episode, Bender gets in trouble for causing damage, and Amy, feeling sad after breaking up with Kif, hangs out with Bender. The crew discovers their romance on a planet called Tornadus, and while Professor Farnsworth disapproves, the rest of the crew supports them. Amy's parents find out about the relationship, leading Fry to pretend to be her new boyfriend. Amy rescues Bender from a place where he's supposed to be re-educated, and they launch Proposition Infinity to make marriages between robots and humans legal. Wow, I already see this happening in real life. Despite some challenges, Bender's sincere speech at a debate wins public approval. Professor Farnsworth initially opposes the proposition, but accidentally reveals his own failed relationship with a robot. This changes people's minds, and Proposition Infinity is widely accepted. However, when Amy starts talking about being faithful to one partner, Bender ends the relationship and goes back to his carefree ways. And Amy then goes back to Kif, who tries to be a bad boy for her. In the following episode, Bender, believing he's immortal, discovers a missing backup unit, making him mortal. Determined to find Inspector Number 5, the quality control inspector at Mom's robot company, who assessed him when he was built, Bender goes on a journey with Hermes. They search for Inspector Number 5, facing Mom's killbots and traveling to Tijuana. In Tijuana, Bender abandons the search, realizing he's destined to die someday. Hermes cheers him up, and they trick the killbots by pretending that Bender's eliminated. Back at Planet Express, they restore order, and Bender learns that Hermes was Inspector Number 5, who saved him from disposal. In the episode The Da Vinci Code, Fry says something without thinking and gets kicked out of a game show. Professor Farnsworth shows him secret plans from Da Vinci hidden in the statue's beard. Fry, after getting hit by a bus, spends weeks in the hospital. Back at Planet Express, the crew investigates Da Vinci's invention. They find a robot in a painting and travel to Futurama, meeting Animatronio, a robot tied to Da Vinci's secret group. Learning about the Machina Magnifica, they face challenges like an octopus-guarded fountain in Rome. Soon, they discover Da Vinci's workshop and meet Animatronio. In a spaceship, Fry and Farnsworth reach Vinci, meeting an alien Da Vinci mocked for low intelligence. Fry helps Da Vinci to build an invention, only to realize later that it's a doomsday device. Farnsworth and Fry prevent the disaster, returning home with Da Vinci's ship. Farnsworth apologizes for underestimating Da Vinci's intellect, acknowledging his uncle's intelligence. The episode talks about intelligence, exploration, and recognizing others' abilities. On another day, Fry oversleeps and misses Leela's birthday lunch, causing a strain in the relationship. The professor's one-way time machine sends Fry, Bender, and the professor to the distant future. They witness various future eras, including dystopias and enslavement by giraffes. Bender prefers a future where robots dominate, causing tension among the trio. Leela, thinking they attended a party, misses Fry and starts dating Hubert. Eventually, Fry's birthday card appears, and Leela forgives Fry, realizing he's alive somewhere. She leaves a message for him to find. And in the distant future, they meet on a bridge watching the stars. In the episode That Darn Cats, the crew, except Amy, goes out drinking before her doctoral exam. Amy arrives late and in her underwear, presenting a thesis on a planetary ratchet using Earth's rotational energy. A disruptive cat causes her to fail. That cat, revealed to be part of a cat conspiracy, hypnotizes the crew to build Amy's device. Amy and Nibbler discover the cat's plan to steal Earth's energy from their home planet, Thubian 9. The crew, under cat control, transfers Earth's energy to Thubian 9, causing extreme temperatures on Earth. Attempting to reverse the process fails, but Amy suggests pushing forward to restart Earth's rotation. They succeed, but now Earth spins in the opposite direction. Amy earns her PhD for saving Earth, and Nibbler apologizes, returning to be Leela's pet. The episode Clockwork Origin begins with the Planet Express crew going to Hubert's school, where people are arguing about teaching the theory of evolution. The professor, wanting to prove evolution, searches for the missing link. They find the link, Homo Farnsworth, but things go wrong, and the professor decides he doesn't want to live on Earth anymore. The crew helps the professor set up a house on another planet. However, nanobots cause chaos by eating everything. The crew survives and finds themselves in a world with mechanical dinosaurs. They build a solar-powered spaceship to escape. Meanwhile, Zoidberg bonds with Hubert, who's having a tough time at school. Later, Leela and Amy go missing, believed to be taken by robot cavemen. the crew discovers evolved robots who are upset with the professor. He's put on trial, but the robots evolve into a higher state of consciousness and lose interest. The crew returns home and the professor explains his findings. Zoidberg is happy to be rid of Qbert and everyone laughs. In the episode The Prisoners of Benda, Leela accuses Fry of being shallow and only caring about her looks. Meanwhile, Amy and Professor Farnsworth decide to switch minds to feel young again and indulge in appetite. Farnsworth to feel young again and Amy to indulge in appetite. However, they realize they can't switch back because the same bodies can't switch twice. Chaos ensues as bodies are swapped multiple times. Farnsworth in Amy's body joins the circus, while Leela and Amy switch bodies too. Fry, trying to get back to Leela, switches bodies with Zoidberg. Meanwhile, Bender in Amy's body becomes involved in a plot to steal the Robo-Hungarian Emperor's crown. The situation becomes more complicated as bodies continue to swap left and right. The episode ends with the Harlem Globetrotters helping the crew return to their original bodies, and everyone goes back to normal. Bender, though, immediately starts thinking of a new plan to steal the Emperor's crown. Moving on to the next episode, Enda, dissatisfied with Eller's lack of ambition, forces him to invade Earth. However, he arrives during Comic-Con and is mistaken for a participant. Back at Planet Express, Fry creates a superhero comic featuring himself. The crew is unimpressed, prompting Fry to improve the story. Meanwhile, Eller faces marriage troubles and seeks advice from the crew. After a disastrous date with a human in an Omnicronian costume, the crew helps Eller stage a fake invasion to impress his wife. The plan backfires and Eller is forced to invade Earth for real. Leela urges him to confess, but Eller hesitates. In between the chaos, Enda grows suspicious of Eller's relationship with Leela. Girl, the human from the date, reappears with a disintegration ray. Enda shoots her, revealing it to be a teleportation gun. She initiates a ritual where Eller must prove his love by shooting Leela. Fry sacrifices himself, but Girl reveals the gun's true nature. The Omnicronians leave happily, and Fry is revealed to be alive. Inspired by his heroic actions, Fry improves his comic's ending. The Planet Express crew has been hired for their 100th delivery to deliver nitroglycerin in a souffle form. Bender, who is stable, ensures the safe delivery. They take it to Mrs. Astor's place, where the souffle explodes. Mrs. Astor, impressed with Fry and Professor Farnsworth being Farnsworths, invites them to her fundraiser for mutant education. At the fundraiser, Fry accidentally reveals that Leela is a mutant, leading to her being sent to the sewers. The crew, except Bender, is punished to spend 2 weeks below the surface. In the sewers, they discover the land Titanic and the rare quantum gemerald. Leela, angry with Fry, plans a revolt against the surface dwellers. Fry mutated after jumping into a toxic lake, and the crew led the revolt. They cause a sewage flood in New York, and Mrs. Astor orders an attack on the mutants. Fry uses the quantum gemerald to part the sewage and reveals the land Titanic's passenger list, including mutants. Mrs. Astor, moved by it, grants mutants the right to the surface. Leela kisses Fry and he reverts to normal, revealing he was lodged in Mr. Astor's mutated mouth. The Astors reunite, and the crew celebrates their 100th delivery. Bender witnesses the robot mafia beating someone at a wedding and fears revenge. To stay safe, he testifies against the mafia boss. Bender goes into hiding, and Planet Express looks for a new employee to replace him. The Mafia sends a member named Clamps, using the name Francis, tries to get information from Fry but fails. The crew meets a robot named Billy West on the moon, thinking it's Bender under witness protection. Clamps attempts to harm Billy, but Zoidberg stops him. Bella, the Mafia boss's daughter, shoots Billy, thinking he cheated on her. Back on Earth, the crew thinks Bender is dead, but they find him working at a pizzeria. It turns out Billy was an innocent robot, and Bender is still in hiding. The robot mafia believes Bender is dead, so he's now free from witness protection. And up next, Professor Farnsworth remembers the 50th anniversary of losing his first crew and sends the current crew on a mission. While passing through a dangerous area, they encounter a space whale, and Leela refers to it as Mobius Dick. It attacks them, eating their monument and engine, but leaves the ship adrift. Inside the whale, Leela becomes determined to kill it. She discovers both the old and new crews inside, and the first captain explains that the whale feeds on obsession procession. On Earth, Farnsworth proceeds with a memorial, but the whale, influenced by Leela's strong desire to complete her delivery, lands at Planet Express. She releases the whale's victims, who haven't aged a day within its colony, despite knowing that the space whale is not a monster, as it merely follows its instinct. Everyone proceeds to kill the whale out of revenge for swallowing them. The episode Law and Oracle starts with Fry playing a video game about being a delivery boy. He reminisces on his pizza delivery days. Later, Fry becomes a police officer and works with URL. They chase down criminals, catch a speeder named Schrodinger, and are promoted to the Future Crimes Division. Meanwhile, Bender and Leela go on a boring delivery to Pandora. Back on Earth, Fry and URL tour the Future Crimes Division, where they meet Pickles, a robot predicting crimes. Fry accidentally influences a crime prediction involving Bender, leading to a plan. It turns out Pickles planned the whole thing to end his miserable existence as an oracle. In the end, Fry stops Pickles and Bender, but he loses his police job and returns to Planet Express with a meaningless title. In the episode Benderama, Professor Farnsworth invents a machine to create smaller duplicates of objects. Bender uses it to duplicate himself, leading to multiple generations of Benders. The duplicates start consuming Earth's resources, especially alcohol, and the crew flushes the Benders down the toilet. But some survive at a microscopic level, creating alcohol from water and carbon dioxide. Earth faces a water crisis, and the giant alien previously angered by the crew returns. Bender, sober, agrees to fight the alien. The tiny duplicates form a big Bender, and after a fierce battle, they consume the alien. The next day, the crew recovers from a hangover, and the professor finds his sweaters folded. Bender hints that he might have kept a mini Bender to do the work, while microscopic Benders can be seen in the air. The Planet Express crew is upset with Dr. Zoidberg's poor medical skills and wants Professor Farnsworth to fire him. In a flashback, it's shown that Zoidberg saved Farnsworth's life in the past, creating an agreement that Zoidberg would kill Farnsworth out of mercy if he got a deadly disease. In the present, Farnsworth seems sick, but Zoidberg's attempts to mercy kill him fail. The crew thinks Zoidberg is a threat and restrains him. However, Farnsworth reveals he has Yetiism, not a deadly disease. Feeling guilty, the crew decides to kill Farnsworth. Zoidberg returns, discloses the truth, and cures Farnsworth appreciates Zoidberg's help and offers him a free tanning session, and they leave as friends. In the following episode, the Planet Express crew attends a parade, and Fry becomes a hero by saving a human from a parade float accident. The mayor declares Friday in his honor. Bender, feeling unappreciated, threatens suicide and ends up dead. He turns into a ghost, and now no one can hear or see him except for Robot Devil. Bender strikes a deal with the Robot Devil to return to life if he kills Fry. Unable to directly harm Fry, Bender uses electronic interference to torment him. Fry, haunted by the ghost, seeks help from the Preacher Bot and gets a sacred firewall. Bender fails to kill Fry when he has a heart attack. One more shock could kill Fry, but Bender changes his mind when Fry says that he misses Bender and realizes how valuable a robot life can be. Fry decides to live on the Amish homeworld without machines. Bender follows, promising to protect Fry. The Robot Devil tries to force Bender to kill Fry, but fails. Bender sacrifices himself to save Fry from a runaway barn, causing the Robot Devil to be killed. Bender's ghost goes to Robot Heaven but possesses Robot God to return to Earth. He is reunited with his body, and Fry suspects that Bender was the ghost haunting him. And up next, the Planet Express crew faces bankruptcy, and they start thinking of plans to keep their building. Leela suggests turning the business into an airline. The crew considers a girly calendar but struggles to make it happen. Soon they launch Plan AM, an airline with Fry and Hermes as pilots. The plane crashes on a mineral world where a rock alien tests both genders. However, they both fail, and the rock alien removes their genders. Later, when Hermes and LaBarbara want their genders back, the rock alien mistakenly swaps their genders. Zap Brannigan arrives and shoots the rock alien. The crew adjusts to their swapped genders, and the girly calendar saves them from bankruptcy. The Borax Kid arrives to fix their genders, and the crew is back to normal. Just after the Borax Kid leaves, Scruffy, still a woman, comes out of the girls' bathroom and asks, "What did I miss?" In the episode Fry Am the Eggman, the Planet Express crew visits a local farmer's market. Leela insists they eat known foods, but Fry buys a fertile egg, deciding to hatch it. The egg hatches into Mr. Peppy, a bone vampire. As Mr. Peppy grows, the crew realizes they can't keep it on Earth and send it back to its homeworld, Duhan 6, to help repopulate its species. After setting Mr. Peppy free, the crew tells the villagers that they set the creatures loose. Fry assures them that Mr. Peppy is harmless, but after Leela is attacked by Mr. Peppy, Fry decides to kill his pet himself. When he shoots, it is revealed to be Megzongo dressed in a bone vampire costume, and he admits that he was responsible for the attacks. Suddenly, they notice Mr. Peppy sucking the skeleton from some sheep, and Fry decides to kill him until the villagers spare the beast because they can use it as a way to slaughter their livestock. As for Megzongo, he is later arrested. The episode Cold Warriors begins with Fry recalling a childhood memory of ice fishing with his father in 1988. In the present, the Planet Express crew goes ice fishing but only catches baby fish and the common cold virus believed to be extinct for 500 years. The crew falls ill. Bender, avoiding the virus, escapes but later contaminates everyone. As the city experiences a widespread outbreak, Manhattan is physically lifted towards the sun by the Nimbus. The professor explains that a vaccine can be developed, but only Fry can help them. The crew attempts to extract the virus from Fry, but he has a flashback of a high school science contest, remembering that the common cold experiment he entered was sent into space. The crew tricks the Nimbus into attacking them, creating a hole in the quarantine shield. They retrieve the experiment on Saturn's moon, and the professor engineers a vaccine. In the final scenes, Fry has a flashback of his father showing a rare moment of love and concern during an ice fishing trip. Moving on, the crew loses a video game, so Q*bert overclocks Bender for better performance. Mom discovers this, fearing it will impact robot sales, and has the professor and Q*bert arrested for voiding Bender's license agreement. Meanwhile, Bender becomes super intelligent, gathering processing power and escaping. Leela leaves Planet Express to become a space real estate agent. Fry decides to commit suicide, but discovers Bender, now an omnipotent being beneath Niagara Falls. Despite Fry's plea for help at the trial, Bender is indifferent. However, he later appears, manipulating legal technicalities to save the professor. Mom resets Bender factory settings, erasing his intelligence. As Fry wonders about his future with Leela, Bender provides a future prediction. The content is not shown, but Fry and Leela's reactions suggest a mix of ups and downs in their relationship. The episode Reincarnation begins in an old black and white cartoon style. The crew discovers a rare diamondium comet. Fry, attempting to find the perfect diamond for Leela's engagement ring, accidentally freezes time when using a doomsday device on the comet. A small diamond section becomes the ring for an alien proposing to his beloved. The second part of the episode is presented in the style of an 8-bit video game. Professor Farnsworth discovers that all life is composed of pixels. For some time he is thrilled, but soon he loses interest in life's mysteries. Fry's question about physics allows him to research once more. And the third part is an anime style. The crew accidentally angers dancing aliens by destroying the diamondium comet. Despite failed attempts at communication, Zoidberg's unexpected dance skills bring peace. In the first episode of Season 7, the crew gets a new soda machine. Bender and the machine exchange funny insults. Fry drinks a lot of new soda, turning his urine green. Bender and the machine, named Bev, end up in a strange relationship. Soon, Bev gives birth to a baby robot that looks like Bender. Bender, who doesn't know much about robot reproduction, learns about it at a teen center. Bev leaves the child named Ben with Bender. They struggle at first, but eventually they bond over bending things and doing illegal stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. As Ben grows, he struggles to bend things. Bender tries to help, but Ben needs a special upgrade. Bev comes back, wanting custody of Ben. A custody fight starts between Bev and Bender. In the end, Q*bert suggests installing a bending card into Ben. However, Ben will lose his memories. Ben chooses to erase his memories, including those with Bender. The episode finishes with Ben and Bender heading to a bending university. In the next episode, A Farewell to Arms, Fry loses his pants tied to a weather balloon, which leads the crew to discover an ancient Martian pyramid predicting Earth's end. They learn about a solar flare, and the spaceship is found in the pyramid. The president plans to evacuate selected people to Mars using a decision-making machine. Fry and Bender stay on Earth. However, they realize that Mars faces the disaster, not Earth. Amy's translation mistake causes chaos. The humans attempt to escape the solar flare, but it strikes Mars, pushing it towards Earth. The humans jump off Mars, but Leela, with a broken leg, can't. Fry tries to catch her, resulting in them tearing off each other's arms. Professor Farnsworth uses a birth machine to make new arms for Fry and Leela. Moving on to the next episode, in the 2012 presidential debate, the crew, except Leela, supported Nixon's anti-alien stance. Leela supports Senator Travers, the opponent of Nixon. Bender attempts to dig up dirt on Travers, but only discovers his middle name, Zaxar. Bender spins a rumor that Travers isn't born on Earth. Fry, Leela, and Bender investigate Travers' birthplace and find a file indicating his mother's admission to the maternity ward. Travers arrives and reveals he's a time traveler from 3028. In his future, Nixon's alien fence causes economic collapse and robot rebellion. To prevent this, Travers travels back, running for president to change the course of history. Travers broadcasts his live birth on national TV. He wins the election, but something surprising happens as the future that produced him is erased. Travers begins disappearing, and Nixon wins by default. The crew, confused, realizes recent events haven't been undone, leaving them in the same place at the Planet Express. Leela struggles to recall who she worked for, and the crew is puzzled too. Later, the Planet Express crew goes to the aquarium. Bender becomes a photographer and tries to expose Langdon Cobb, an actor who always hides his face. Bender takes a picture of Cobb's face, and when the crew sees it, their life forces are stolen, making their bodies shrink. Professor Farnsworth discovers Cobb is a quantum lichen person from Bryoria 6, a race stealing life forces through photos. To get the life forces back, Farnsworth plans to destroy Cobb's ego, which looks like a fungus dog. The crew helps weaken Cobb's ego at the World Acting Championship, but Cobb's win causes an uncontrollable ego attack. While battling Cobb's ego, Bender develops the photo's negative, revealing Cobb's face. Cobb explains his evolution from a life force thief to a celebrity thriving on Earth's admiration. Trying to destroy Cobb's id, Bender shows him a photo, causing Cobb's ego to inflate and explode. This gives the crew back their life forces. Concluding this episode, which explores celebrity obsession and the consequences of revealing secrets. In the next episode, the crew attends Leela's parents' anniversary, but a video leads to their divorce. Leela's mother, Munda, becomes Zap's translator, and her father, Morris, takes up sewer surfing. Leela suspects Zap's motives and tries to sabotage their relationship. However, Zap ends up proposing to Munda. The wedding is interrupted by the Karkarons, leading to a space battle. Morris, with his sewer surfing skills, helps resolve the conflict, and Munda and Morris decide to reunite, resulting in a remarriage ceremony. In the episode The $6 Million Mon, Hermes evaluates everyone's job's performance at Planet Express. The lowest rated employee is supposed to get fired, but things don't go as planned, and he ends up firing himself. A new robot, Mark 7G, is hired to do tasks. Hermes decides to upgrade his body parts, adding enhancements. Zoidberg creates a puppet named Little Hermes from the old parts. Hermes then wants a robot brain for a complete transformation. There's some drama, but eventually Zoidberg helps Hermes to get back to being fully human through a surgery. Roberto, who ends up in Hermes' robot body, dies instantly. Hermes faces some relationship issues, but Zoidberg saves the day, and everyone ends up laughing at Zoidberg's funny puppet show. The Planet Express crew goes to Octoberfest, where Fry gets drunk and performs the chicken dance on the table. Leela, embarrassed by Fry, guess what? Breaks up with him. Meanwhile, Bender discovers a sausage competition and seeks exotic meat. Bender and Fry find frozen mammoths, and Fry falls into a hole. Thinking Fry is dead, the crew returns to Octoberfest. Leela, unaware of Fry's survival, erases memories of him. Fry lives with the cavemen in the Neander Valley, rallying them to the Octoberfest. Chaos happens between cavemen and modern humans. Leela and Fry recognize each other during a fight. Their kiss brings back memories, and they make up. Cavemen and modern humans unite, bringing joy to Octoberfest. The crew and the cavemen celebrate together. Later, Bender, wearing nerd glasses, gets mistaken for a college student. He's invited to a sorority party at Columbia University, but faces $10,000 tuition fees. The robot Mafia offers a loan with an absurd interest rate. Bender joins a gang, faces a gang war, and falls into drug addiction. The robot Mafia takes his drug money, leading to legal troubles. However, his lawyer frees him by saying he was programmed this way and has no free will. Later, on Chapek 9, Bender feels unfulfilled and joins a robot monastery. Learning about the free will unit, he recruits Fry and Leela to steal it from MomCorp. Mom explains that the unit was invented by Professor Farnsworth. The professor claims it's not functional. Back at Planet Express, Professor admits it works, but robots can't pick it up due to his code. In frustration, Bender attempts to shoot the professor, who reveals robots can't harm him either. Out of pity, Professor installs the unit, letting Bender shoot him. Fry wins a prize, but feels sad when the Professor doesn't come. Fry wishes for more family, and Zoidberg says the Professor's parents are in a virtual retirement home. The crew visits them and finds out they're being used for power. In a virtual world, Fry connects with his Gram and Shabadoo. A mishap leads to an elder abuse alert, and they escape with the elderly couple. The Professor is mad at his parents. Leela and Amy say he should make up with them. The Professor shares a tough childhood story. They visit the farm, and Farnsworth learns that he was mistaken for his troubled brother. They make up, and the virtual home turns into their farm, where they happily play. After shopping for new uniforms, Bender takes up fox hunting, causing Leela to protest against animal killing. Bender discovers the fox is a robot, and he protests against robot abuse. Leela this time is okay with it. But Bender decides to stop all robot abuse in the area. He sets the robot fox loose to prevent the next hunt. The hunters, unable to find the fox, decide to hunt Bender. Bender gets a head start but is caught. He sets up a trap and encounters the robot fox, losing his foot in a trap. With Fry's help, he gets his foot back but refuses to shoot the hunter with witnesses. The robot fox attacks, and it's revealed the Huntmaster is also a robot. And the trio approves bot-on-bot violence. In the episode Viva Mars Vegas, the robot mafia steals $8 million from an armored truck. The Planet Express crew, feeling bored, decides to visit Amy's parents' casino. Zoidberg decides to stay behind. The robot mafia plans to hide the loot in the Zoidberg's dumpster. A chase happens where the money ends up in front of Zoidberg. At the Mars casino, Zoidberg uses found money to win big, but later loses it all. The robot mafia wants the money back, and Zoidberg, in fear, blinds them with ink and escapes. Back at Planet Express, the crew deals with a hangover. Zoidberg seeks refuge, and the crew hides him using a tattoo removal laser that accidentally makes him invisible. The robot mafia, unable to get their money back, decides to take over the casino. They evict the Wongs, but Amy plans a heist to reclaim the money. Zoidberg, eating invisible money, successfully steals it. The crew distracts the robot mafia, and Zoidberg burps up the loot. A contract reveals the Wongs must return the casino to the Martians, and the robot mafia is taken away. The crew helps the Wongs move back into their mansion, and they regain the casino. The Planet Express crew goes to a prison to drop off a supervillain frozen in carbonite. Bender decides he wants to be like Silicon Red, a famous singer. While chasing after Red, the frozen criminal escapes and freezes Fry. Bender wants to become a great folk singer and gets a guitar. In his first performance, he fails, and Zoidberg suggests he works on a railroad for real stories. Bender watches others' works and includes their stories in his song. Later, he meets a guy named Caboose and a fembot named Jezebel. They get together, and Bender adds these events to his song too. Caboose gets mad, and the song events start happening in real life. Caboose chases Bender, and Fry and Leela won't let him in. Caboose is about to get revenge, so they use the printer to print giant octopuses, and Caboose flattens Bender with a train. At Bender's funny funeral, Silicon Red sings. After that, we see Silicon Red singing at Bender's funny funeral. But all of a sudden, real Bender shows up, and he creates a fake version to trick Caboose. Bender and Silicon Red then decide to become hip-hop stars. In the following episode, the Professor makes the spaceship better, but it crashes. He fixes it using old parts. Leela gets a new ship that does deliveries automatically, making everyone bored. The Professor joins a street racing gang. Leela challenges him to a race, and they crash. They end up in a two-dimensional world called Flatbush. In this flat world, they attend a feast but realize they can't eat due to their two-ended digestive system. The creatures of Flatbush get offended, and the crew tries to escape. They struggle to survive until they return to the third dimension using the ship. Everyone celebrates with joy in the end. In the episode T, the Terrestrial, Ulrich from Omicron Persei 8 is annoyed by his son Jur's Boy Scout badge request. Ulrich forces Jur to invade Earth for a badge. He accidentally disintegrates the headless body of Spyro Agnew, and Earth decides to cut ties with their planet. The crew needs a special herb from Omicron Persei 8 for the Professor's medicine. They trick Zap Brannigan to get there. While on the planet, Fry gets left behind but befriends Jur. Unfortunately, Fry eats something toxic, and feeling guilty, Bender steals the ship to rescue Fry. Ulrich wants Jur to shoot Fry, but Jur refuses, and Ulrich is proud that Jur stood up to him. The crew discovers Fry is alive, but Jur refuses and Bender takes him back. Jur wants Fry to stay, but Fry returns to Earth. Also, Leela's kiss makes Fry's butt glow. And moving on to the next episode, the Planet Express team has a day without accidents at work. I guess they didn't let any women drive this time. Fry plans a romantic night with Leela, but their attempts to be alone are constantly interrupted. Meanwhile, the crew goes on a delivery mission to a planet where humans are not allowed, causing unexpected events. Fry and Leela decide to go on a vacation at a fancy resort, only to find out it's actually an experiment run by the zoo director. They become part of an alien zoo, where their actions are watched by aliens. Back on Earth, the crew discovers Fry and Leela's situation and tries to rescue them from the strange alien zoo. Bender spills the truth about the zoo, causing an awkward reunion where everyone learns about the embarrassing moments. In the episode The Inhuman Torch, Zap Brannigan's actions cause miners to be trapped inside the sun. Fry, Leela, and Bender go to save them. Surprisingly, Bender rescues miners from the sun's core and gets praised. But the rest of the crew suspects Bender of starting fires for attention. Bender discovers a solar being, Flamo, accidentally brought to Earth. Flamo plans to turn Earth into a miniature sun. To stop it, Bender captures Flamo and escapes to the Arctics. Fry doubts Bender's story and leaves. Flamo escapes, creating chaos at Planet Express. Fry, not trusting Bender, scolds him during a rescue. But when Flamo returns, Bender jumps into a lava pit to catch it. Two flame creatures reveal Bender's bravery and take Flamo away. Despite apologies, Bender explains the crew won't believe Fry. To protect Bender, Fry falsely claims that he caused the fire, and they secretly share a smile. In the following episode, the crew wants to bring back Calculon, a robot actor who died. They go to robot hell to get his soul and perform a ritual to revive him. Calculon comes back, but he struggles to fit in because people think his acting style is old-fashioned. Despite trying to get his old job back, he faces rejection. Feeling down, he decides to perform a one-man play, but it doesn't go well. The crew helps him audition in disguise, and he improves. But his pride gets in the way. Leela talks to him, and he gives a better performance. However, a tragic accident happens on set, and Calculon dies, again. Then the next episode, As He Come Home, is about the Planet Express crew delivering a mysterious box to a tough planet. Leela, being curious, finds weapons inside. To avoid trouble, she asks Bender to disable them, but things go wrong. The crew faces gangs and giant spiders. Bender's body parts get scattered across the universe, and they go on an adventure to find his missing parts. In the end, Bender's shiny metal butt plays an important role in saving the ship from crashing. Though hesitant at first, leaving it behind prevents disasters. Surprisingly, Bender's butt becomes a hero. Left in the lighthouse, it spins off into space and saves a child named Johnny. When it returns to Bender, there are fireworks, but they're actually ships crashing in the Sargasso Sea. In the episode Game of Tones, a spaceship destroys planets using a repetitive tune. When it targets Earth, Professor Farnsworth thinks it's trying to communicate. Fry recognizes the tune from his last day in 1999. They use a device to send Fry back to relive that day and find the source. In his dreams, Fry spends time with his family but faces interference from his crew and others. Eventually, he remembers an extra tone from that day. They play it, and a small ship lands piloted by a Niblonian named Digby. Digby reveals that he, not Fry, caused the destruction as he forgot to lock their spaceship. They lost the keys and have been searching for it. After fixing their ship, Digby leaves and Nibbler thanks Fry, offering him a dream of his mother's happiness in the past as repayment. In the next episode, the crew of Planet Express doesn't trust each other because of accusations. To build trust, they attend a work retreat led by Dan McMasters. During the retreat, a hitchhiker turns out to be a human-eating monster who devours McMasters. Talk about a safe space to retreat. In a safe room, Fry and Bender meet the real McMasters, who says it's all a trust-building exercise. However, Fry and Bender think he was lying. Now, with a common secret, they believe they can trust each other. But when news of McMaster's disappearance comes out with a reward for information, Bender and Fry look at each other with devious stares. Zoidberg has a girlfriend online, but when they meet, she can't stand his smell. Roberto interrupts them, but Zoidberg stands up to him, and the girl named Marianne likes Zoidberg. They start dating, and Marianne wants to smell things, so Zoidberg gives her a new nose through surgery. After the surgery, Marianne says he smells just as she dreamed, and they keep dating. Meanwhile, Bender competes in a tap dancing contest against a girl named Tanya. Tanya breaks Bender's legs, but dies because of a heart problem. Bender accidentally revives her by dancing on her body, and they team up for mischief. In the season's finale, the crew is on the moon, and Fry wants to propose to Leela. He buys a balloon, but things go wrong with the engagement ring. The professor creates a time button, and Fry uses it to fix his mistake. However, this causes time loops, and they discover they can interact with the world frozen in time. Fry and Leela decide to live their lives together in this unique frozen state, exploring Earth for decades. As they get old, a strange glimmer appears, and Professor emerges from it, explaining that the button had rotated him into a different time frame. They decide to reset everything, erasing their memories. And Fry and Leela choose to start a new life, sharing a final kiss before the button is pushed for the last time. And that would be it from us. Comment down below what you think of this show and which show you want us to cover next. And if you enjoyed the video, drop us a like and subscribe to our channel for more awesome tunes like this recapped on your feed. As always, thanks for watching.